We are with Jamestown Fire Chief Matthew Kuhn at the scene of what the mayor told us is probably one of the largest fire the city has seen in a while. Chief, can you tell us what your crews responded to tonight?
About 6:45 tonight, the members of the 4th Platoon responded to a reported building fire at 308 Crescent Street, which is the location of the former Jamestown Royal Upholstery Company. The crews found heavy fire showing from the windows when they arrived at the scene. Our initial response was 2 engines and 1 ladder company and 1 duty chief. They immediately called for additional personnel, which was the initial response was 15 off-duty firefighters, which was then increased to 20, which was then increased to all available members from Jamestown Fire Department to respond, as well as our neighbors from Faulkner, which also provided a ladder company, an engine company. Kennedy Fire Department provided 1 engine company. Busti Fire Department has personnel standing by on scene with their ambulance, as was All-Star Ambulance. Chautauqua County EMS, Chautauqua County Fire Police were also assisting with traffic control, as was JPD.
So in total, how many personnel you think are involved tonight?
We have approximately 50 firefighters here at the moment helping to fight this blaze and keep it contained to the building of origin.
So when you got on scene, can you describe what it looked like for your crews?
Pretty heavy smoke conditions. They had a lot of flames showing. When the initial arriving companies responded here, the building was still standing and a lot of it has collapsed down due to the heat of the fire. So we have a couple of unsafe areas. We're going to be having an excavator come down to try to do some emergency demolition to the building to make it safe for us to be able to go in and put the fire out the rest of the way.
As for the timeline for all of this, do you have an estimated as to when things might get wrapped up?
We're hoping that the excavator will be here within the hour. We're going to start repositioning some of our fire equipment. As you can see, we've done that a couple of times already. Hopefully we'll be able to have most of the building down before midnight, but we'll still have crews on scene throughout the night and into the day tomorrow.
What will they be doing during that time?
Mostly it's going to be fire watch, just looking for hot spots, make sure we don't have any rekindles, especially given that the wind is going to kick up to be what it is.
I know most of Crescent Street on this section of the city is closed, as well as part of East 2nd. Do you know when the roads might be able to get back open?
We're working to get all the hose picked up off of East 2nd Street as we speak. We anticipate that that'll be open within 30 minutes. Crescent Street will remain closed for the remainder of tonight and into tomorrow.
Now, I know that the mayor said this building did have a business operating out of it. Do you know if anyone was inside at the time?
We have not had any reports of anybody being inside the building at the time of the fire.
Once things are under control, I imagine you'll have an inspection of the property?
Most certainly, yep. Representatives from the Department of Development have been down to obviously take an assessment of the building and obviously ordered the emergency demolition to the building. So as we go through and try to mop up hot spots, we'll be checking to make sure that there's been no injuries associated with this place.
Was that a concern for you, since it is a big building? I know there are some people who maybe walk along the railroad tracks here in the city.
It always is. Life safety is always our first concern, both obviously for first responders and for any civilians that could be in the area. When the crews arrived down here, they had no reports of any injuries and they did not see any persons around the building.
I know this fire was very expansive. For you, what are some of the first things that your crews try to do when working to contain a massive scene like this?
Well, when you have a large fire such as this, our main goal is obviously, like I said, life safety. We try to confine it to the area of origin, and unfortunately for this one, it turned out to be the building of origin. But we try to not have any additional exposures that become damaged as a result of the central seat of the fire.
And as far as you know, most of the damage was contained to the fire, or were other structures involved or anything like that?
It looks like we may have some damage to some neighboring structures. We'll be able to do a better assessment of that tomorrow once the sun comes back up. But for the moment, it looks like most of the catastrophic damage has all been confined to just that building of origin. If there is damage to other buildings in the area, it's going to be very minor.
Now, as for the actual factory structure, how big do you estimate it is?
I'd have to do some checking. I'd say probably the building's 10 to 12,000 square feet.
So a larger structure when compared to residential homes.
Indeed. Yep.
Do you know who the owner of the building is?
I do not, off the top of my head.
All right.
Now, as for the investigation process, I imagine that it's probably just getting started now.
Yep. We have had fire investigators on scene doing some preliminary investigation work. Unfortunately, there's not a lot they can do until we actually get the fire extinguished so they can go inside and start doing some assessments to the rubble.
With the building occupied, as far as we know, do you know, have any idea about what maybe could have caused it?
I don't know. It's all going to be, I couldn't speculate. It's all going to be considered under investigation at this time.
Anything else that you have to add that maybe we didn't touch on that you want the public to know?
Certainly just know that we're going to try to work to get this place all under control and fully extinguished. We can't thank our neighbors and partners enough, both from the city and to the surrounding communities, for coming in to help us with a blaze of this magnitude. And obviously, thank you to the citizens of Jamestown for being patient with us while we have some of the streets closed. We understand there's a lot of bystanders who like to come out and see what's going on, and we appreciate them just keeping a safe distance away if they do want to come down, and try not to interfere for their own safety, all right, and kind of stay away from the scene until we get it all cleaned up.
All right, Chief Kuhn, thank you so much for talking with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks. Stealing all my questions, but he hasn't read them into his microphone, so.
You still rolling? Oh, we are good.